I guess I'll start. I think the most important thing we talked about today was just, by whatever means necessary, winning at home, finding a way to be successful at home. And obviously we were, really good in moments, and then, we had some really tough moments where, we put ourselves in difficult situations. But at the end of the day, we found a way to get a W at home, and we had some really special play at times that, we just didn't quit. We weren't happy with some of the stuff that was happening, and give Seattle credit, they turned us over quite a bit. There's lots to work on, but we knew that second game of the season.
Could you be any happier at 2-0 though overall?
It's a 40-game season. Can I be any happier? Yeah. I'm happy to be 2-0. I'm happy that we found a way. I'm happy to be 1-0 at home. And that's a big one.
I thought Alana played really well again for this team tonight. Would you agree?
Yeah, she did. But both her and Fee had, sort of uncharacteristic moments where, again, give Seattle credit, we got sped up. That I'd like to see us have a little more poise, but yeah, she had a big three there. And she just competes so hard. My goodness, 6 block shots. Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Tie's a franchise record.
Was it a tie? Yeah. So, but yeah, she was big, and those guys are playing so many darn minutes, and they're finding a way to, stay in there and compete at the level that they did. So yeah, I thought Lamb was big for us. Made her threes again.
It was almost like a 6-act play. Because both Fee and K-Mac basically had chances to win the game, didn't, and then they came out in the second overtime and basically won the game.
Yeah.
Is it kind of neat to see that kind of swing?
Yeah.
Within the same evening.
Yeah. Yeah. You can imagine how they felt in their respective situations, and so. I thought if we could get to another overtime that they would maybe potentially have their moments where they could help get us across the finish line, and they did. Simple basketball plays that, we unlocked a couple things late in that second overtime, and then defensively, Jules fouling out was obviously made things a little bit more challenging for Seattle in terms of options to go to score. It allowed us to really focus on Skylar. And we changed our pick and roll coverage with her. But I thought, Jewel and Skylar really got going, and that was our biggest concern, both in Seattle and here, that they would do what they did. Even though there's a lot of shots for both of them, they really got going.
And to kind of follow up on that, you'd kind of, I guess, expect it out of both Kahleah and Fee, but neither one of them let that disappointment
yeah. Well, that
affect what happened going forward.
That's what I expect. If it was somebody else, that maybe hasn't been with us, or maybe a younger player, but no, I fully expected K-Mac and Fee to find a way, to bounce back.
You have the most turnovers of your time as a coach here,
Thanks,
and yet you outscore them off of turnovers.
It's crazy.
What a strange game.
Yeah.
And it was also the most turnovers by 2 teams in a game in league history.
Yeah. I think it was the officiating.
On the turnovers, was there anything that any kind of looks that Seattle was throwing at you, or was it more of a kind of like execution? I know we've talked about this team being ahead, even though there's a lot of new pieces, but or just a mix of the two
I
things?
thought they were. They did it in moments in Seattle as well. But I think they sort of smelled blood when they started turning up the pressure and started seeing what our reaction to it was, and we weren't doing simple things, and we did simple things. Like, for example, a simple thing would be make a basket cut against pressure. Simple thing would be to seek the paint on straight line drives. We got very few straight line drives, and we got very few cuts. And so therefore pressure is effective, and you're picking the ball up, or a point guard's not able to get the ball in their hands, and we were just sped up. We were sped up, and I'm not used to seeing Fee like that. Because she's able to play in that environment typically. But But we got sped up. We gave in to them taking personnel away, and we had, plays in down the stretch that we're trying to run that we couldn't run because we couldn't get the ball to, to say, Courtney Williams to initiate a play. And so we had to kind of battle through all of that and kind of, put K-Mac in makeshift point guard situations. And again, we've done that last year, so that came in handy. And then I thought Natisha Heidemann finished in the game well for us. Thought her minutes were mostly really good, and we might find ourselves in that situation because defensively Tia is very impactful, and then she is somebody that can find her way to the paint. Just needs to do more of it. This is a really good game for us to learn from. We talk about, but it's a whole other thing to face it and actually do it. And so, we've got to try to recreate that at practice so we can handle that better next time.
It feels kind of silly to ask about something in the first quarter, like it was so long ago. We
It was
were
like
all
yesterday.
different people then.
Yeah.
But I think it was on the first 8 or 9 baskets. There were assists from your guards. I think it was Natisha's steal and fast break. That was the first unassisted basket. And I think it was a pretty high percentage overall of baskets that had assists on them. Is that, just sort of a benchmark that you're looking for in guard play to be, up from maybe what it has been?
For sure. Because I think those guards are really, really capable. And I thought really, we didn't see them for a long time. The first half we had a, we got to most of our roster that got minutes, and I thought that there were nice stretches for them. But I think in terms of the guard play, whether it was Courtney, decent stretches, and then Natisha coming in, and then even Apupa, I thought plays with pace. And I think when you're trying to attack pressure and we just felt like if we could get through their initial thrust of action. So we just talked about that, every time out at halftime. The hedging was very effective against us in the first half. We really talked about what we wanted to get done, even though we'd worked on it for, a couple days before we played Seattle the first time. And then certainly this time, but we still are missing the seek the paint sort of action that creates that. But passing-wise, I think that those guards were, pretty adept at finding, people for open shots.
Cheryl, I know it's only the second game of the season and you went to double overtime, but with 13 threes, I think that's more than any you had in a game last season, and your three-point rate was, 37. You still shot 43% from three. Just how pleased have you been with, I guess, your team's more concerted effort to try to shoot more threes and do so successfully?
Yeah, that was obviously something we talked about going into the season, that we felt like we had a personnel, a group of players that could take the shots. We talk a lot about don't turn down shots. We had a couple that we turned down today, but don't turn down the three ball when your expected point value on those is greater than probably the shot you're going to end up taking when you pull it down and you go try to play off the bounce. So we're really making a concerted effort to make sure that literally anybody should, if they're open at the 3-point line after we play and we kick to you, that's a good shot for us. And so it was good to see Peely, get one to go down and get her first points. And but yeah, the three ball is something that we targeted. We want it to be considerably better than last year, and so far we have been.
I imagine it's not often that you have two players with at least 8 stocks in a game, but for Fee to have 8 and Alana to have 9, just what is it like to have two defensive playmakers like that holding down the paint for you?
Well, those positions, I think it's so valuable. And that's, we're putting Lan in those, in those places. Like her aggression, she's bouncy, she gets to places quickly. She's an anticipator, good, just an overall good basketball player. And her and Fee's synergy, I don't know if you've noticed it. Lan was there when Fee was high side on a post for a big steal. Those two play off each other really, really well. And that's been helpful. It's been a while since we've had, really probably since Sill, that we've had a little more. They're airbornes at the rim. That's where they're getting their block shots. They're not coming over and swatting it to the fifth row. They're coming over and volleyball blocking it, right? So going airborne and getting those good contests and so those two, been obviously really important to us, important to our defense. Franchise record. I'm quite sure that's probably the 20 steals for Seattle is probably their franchise record, right? You know me, I'm a Virgo. That's what I do. I think you guys probably know this. K-Mac got her 1,000th rebound, so she's the 11th player in league history to amass 4,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 made threes. And Kahleah, just the second player in league history to have the stat line she had. The only other player was Tina Charles. I don't know if you guys have that. So the 29, and I don't know if they're counting the 5 turnovers or not. But.
You mentioned it earlier that Peely had her first career points at home tonight. I was just wondering how you felt she performed in her 10 minutes altogether tonight.
Yeah, I thought she was good. Finding her way. I mean, these are, I mean, it's one of those things that you look at and you go, it's impossible to prepare somebody for. And she's undersized. But I think in terms of the way she's competing, just throw caution to the wind and compete. And, there's season-long mistakes that you're going to make, right? Just accept that. You can't be a perfectionist and worry about. So I think we saw her play with a little more movement to her game. Happy for her that she, found the bottom on the 3-ball. And then the nice the 3-point play. I think she missed her free throw, right? But yeah. Peely's a good basketball player, and we're gonna just, it's gonna, minutes are gonna be hard right now in the post. It's obviously Fee and Land probably playing too many minutes, but once we get Sika up to speed and the combination of Peely and Sika, and then you add Dorka back in, we're gonna be able to have nice combinations, and Peely gives us something really unique.
Cheryl, 2 new starters that are new, a revamped bench. The chemistry, offensively, defensively, has looked incredible at points. What do you make through 2 games, just this team finding their footing as a unit with a lot of new people on the roster? Well,
we said this, and I think Kent made the comment that that I seemed in a better mood in training camp in terms of what we were doing. We had a hell of a training camp, and they embraced their level of compete, their level of wanting to help each other and communicating. We had a great training camp. So I'm not surprised to see the chemistry and, the art of accelerating chemistry. This group has kind of put on a clinic of what that takes and, the secret sauce in that. And so I'm happy for them that it's carrying over into the regular season.
Lastly, I'd just say Kahleah had 5 assists last game. For this game, you have a dearth of offensive options, which has maybe been lacking in years past. Do you see her as more of a playmaker this year and she doesn't have to take as many shots, or has that just been maybe a circumstance of game flow?
I think K-Mac's a good passer. I think, her recognition and pick and roll is really good. That's where mostly, where she's getting her passes, playing the 2-man game, finding pocket passes. She had a hell of a one in the first half. But no, she's been doing that for us, and I don't think it's going to be a case that she ends up being more of a passer than a shooter or a scorer. But I think she does that well. And we started putting her in those situations where we felt like the 2-mans, we really trusted that, K-Mac and Fee 2-mans, because whether Fee was making a pass to K-Mac and that burn that she got out of the corner for that layup, and just doing simple things. K-Mac knows the game and obviously knows what we want her to do. Yes, we are now, since 2011, 152 wins to just 7 losses when we hold our opponent below 40%. Make that a headline, Kent, right? Ever make that? No? Okay. Thanks, everybody.